Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity, and good evening, everyone. So my topic is about Kaufman level evaluation model. So, uh, so Kaufman five level of evaluation model is, so the training is the vital component for any organization or business to run. So throughout the evaluation, are needed to determine the most effective training programs, how best to implement them. So what type of training we have to give to our employees, and so the organization can reach to the top level, complete their vision and missions and goals also with this training program. So Kaufman five level of evaluation is one such method used to uh, develop both initial and on-the-job training programs. So it is designed to evaluate a program from the trainees' perspectives and assesses the possible impact on client and society that could result from implementing new training program. So the first level one is input and process. The first level of Kaufman evaluation method is broken down into two parts. So level 1A, evaluation, is the enabling valuation designed to evaluate the quality and availability of physical, financial, and human resources. This is an input level. And second is level 1B. Level 1B is reaction, evaluates the efficiency and acceptability of the means, methods, and processes of the proposed training program. Test subjects are asked how they feel about the instructions. The second slide is about level 2 and 3. Level 2 and 3 is about micro levels. Level 2 and 3 are classified micro levels designed to evaluate individual and small groups. So level 2 is acquisition, evaluates the competency and mastery of the test group or individual in classroom setting. And level 3 is application, evaluates the success of the test group, individual, utilization of the training program. Test subjects are monitored to determine how much and how well they implemented the knowledge they gained within the organization. So within the training program, how much employee they gained the knowledge about their stream. If someone is working in IT, so the company is giving the knowledge about the IT like Python, Java, and data science. In HR, there is strategic international human resource management, performance management. So these are the applications used to train the employees so they can implement that knowledge which they gained within the organization. Third slide about fourth is organizational output. Organizational output is level 4 in the Kaufman's method of evaluation. This level is designed to evaluate the results of the contribution and payoffs of the organization as a whole as a result of the purpose training program, and success is measured in the terms of organization, overall performance, and return on investments. So the organization output, if the organization give training more to their employees, so they can reach to their goal, so their investment will be worthy of the organization. So the main purpose of the organization is to train the employees in that purpose, so they can give profit to the organization. And the level 5 is social outcome. In this initial level of Kaufman's method of evaluation, societal outcomes, the contribution to and from the client and society as a whole are evaluated. Responsiveness, potential, consequences, and payoffs are gauged to determine the success of implementing the purpose training program. So the main thing is the organization think about the societal outcomes also. So what are the benefits for the society, and what the benefits they are given to their clients, what they are exactly delivered to the client, what the clients are expected from us. So what is the social outcome? If they give a well outcome to the organization, if they are trained their employees and they evaluate their employees performances, so they get the better results. So they give better results to the society and the organization also. So last slide is about thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the opportunity, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Yeah. So how do you summarize this? No?
So,
If you have to summarize in just 2 points, how will you summarize this particular?
ma'am, about summarization is that Hoffman is totally contributed about the training program. So training is the most important program to the employees. So the organization can reach to the vision and towards their goals. And second thing is about the if the training give if the employees get better training, so they can give better outputs to the clients and the society also. So the main
Right.
purpose of the Hoffman is about the societal outcome and about the training purpose. So that is the main thing in this.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
Sure. So next, Vaidehi, you want to do that?
Sure, ma'am, I can present.
Yeah. I'll just share my screen.
Yes, thank you.
You can see the screen?
Yes, I can. If you could put it in a slideshow.
Yeah, I'll just do that. One second, I'll just do that. Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. So my topic is the Phillips ROI model. So the Phillips ROI model is a methodology and process for L&D and HR teams to tie the cost of training programs with their actual results. So this methodology basically talks about the cost of the training program and what is the outcome of that. What are the actual results after when you have invested into this into a particular training program, and it also speaks about return on investment. Basically, the ROI means return on investment. So what is the return? So this basically comprises of all four levels of Kirkpatrick model, but then there is one more level added into this, which is return on investment. So if we go through the Kirkpatrick model, which was invented in 1990s, it talks about four levels, which are reaction, learning, behavior, and results. But when we talk about Phillips ROI, which was invented in the early 2000s by Mr. Philip, this model has one Mr. Jack Phillips, and this model has one more level added to it, which is return on investment. So basically, whatever we have invested into training, what are the returns of, so evaluation of what are the returns we are getting from the amount invested, a particular money invested into training. So the five levels of Phillips ROI framework works as the Kirkpatrick model was the de facto model of training evaluation in the 1970s and 80s. With his book on training evaluation, Jack Phillips expanded on its shortcomings to include consideration for return on investment of training programs. So, like I said, this model has been adapted from Kirkpatrick's model, but there is one more level added into it, which is known as return on investment. As discussed earlier, Phillips expanded approach of uh, sorry,
You want to go? Okay.
yeah. So, as discussed earlier, Phillips expanded approach of the Kirkpatrick model to build the Phillips ROI model. The ROI model of training evaluation that Jack Phillips proposed includes five steps, which is reaction, learning, application and implementation, impact, and return on investment. So to talk brief about this, it's basically reaction. So whatever training programs are being held, what are the reaction from the audience? How understandable it is to the audience? That is the first step, which is talking about. And most of our training programs, as a trainer, most of our training programs are up to level 1, which doesn't need much investment, and it is only about what is the reaction of the audience, what is the reaction of the trainees. The other is learning. So basically, whatever you as a trainer are teaching, or training your staff to, how much are they able to learn, how much are they able to adapt. Third is behavior. How much, after your training programs, how are they implementing, and how are they getting used to of whatever training has been done for them. And finally, the results. So basically, what is the outcome of the training once the employees have started implementing whatever you have trained? So in the result, it comes, how is the result of it, because of they have implemented your training, your corrective training, and if they have implemented, what is the outcome of that? Results mein wo aata hai, and the end in this Philips ROI comes is ROI, which is the return on investment. So if you have at all invested any particular amount of money, what is the outcome of that? I mean, if you have invested a particular money, then once the employee has implemented and the results have come in positive, negative, then what is the final evaluation of the training money invested? Next.
Okay.
So, how to calculate training ROI with Phillips model? So this was quite tricky for me as well to understand, because first time when you go through this, it is not that simple, honestly. And yes, I had to put a lot of brain into it and understand what is exactly an ROI, because this concept was very new to me, honestly. And I did not exactly know how to get it. So when you talk about Kirkpatrick model, so you will be hearing me talking about Kirkpatrick more, is because Phillips ROI has been adapted from Kirkpatrick. The only thing which is added into this is the final level 5, which is return on investment. So this model is all about return on investment. How do we get the return on whatever training program we have invested into? So the simple, but not very simple formula of ROI is total program benefits minus total program cost ROI, which is total program cost return on investment, or total program cost into 100%. So, for example, I have also given an example which is also adapted from my studies. Is if a safety program is delivered to 50 people, which resulted into decrease of 20 accidents over the course of year. So, if you are giving a safety training to your employees, where you have invested a particular amount and 50 employees have come, and because of your training, there are 20 less accidents happening a particular year. So, when we talk about this model, ये मॉडल का प्रॉब्लम ये है कि you don't get to know the outcome very soon. The outcome of Phillips ROI model is only measured at the end, at the level of 5, like end of the model, and that is the reason that is the reason it has a con, saying that there is a con into this, is that you have to wait for realizing or to gauge how much is the profit or a loss in this model. So you don't get quick, measure or quick evaluation of loss or profit. You have to wait for a particular time, and then you can come to know whether there is a loss or a profit in this model, in this training program, if at all you have to do. So this directly increases profit of organization of till rupees 1 lakh rupees per year. So in case if you have invested in a training program, in a safety training program for 50 people, and because of that training program आपका 20 accidents जो है वो कम हो गया है, 20 accidents avoid हो गए हैं safety related, तो अपने आप कंपनी को एक साल में 1 लाख रुपए का फायदा होता है. The total cost of the program was, for instance, it was for 50,000 rupees. So when you see the benefit cost ratio is uh, 1 lakh divided by 50,000 rupees. So it comes to two. So basically, in every employee, you have spent 1 rupee. So you get two rupees ka return. So the ROI of this program is 1 lakh minus 50,000. And when you see, you have almost got a return of 0.55%. And that's how you come to know that your training program has helped you out. And in return, you will come to know that you have got a 0.55% of profit because of your training program, which you gave to 50 people. The ROI model is not meant for every training program. Like I said, what trainings we do as a trainer, what training I do every day, it is not meant for that. It is meant for the trainings which are on larger scale, which requires a larger amount of investment. It is sufficient for basic check the box training to only reach level one, like I said in the earlier slide. Level one is where it is reaction wala level. You only that much is fine for a normal day-to-day training. However, if you want to show how your programs are truly helping the company save money and tangible increased profit, the Phillips model is the solution. There is no question that it takes practice, and the biggest challenge is to eliminate non training factors. However, continued focus attempts to show ROI will only improve over time. So, the more and more you show the ROI, I mean, the more and more you show to the company that because of a particular training, this is the return what you are getting in place of your investment, the more and more the company will also invest into your trainings, and it will be very helpful from training perspective. Next slide, please. So advantages of using Phillips ROI model for training evaluation is traces the complete chain of impact. So unlike Kirkpatrick, this when you do this particular when you involve this thing, uh, Phillips ROI, it will help you trace the entire chain of whatever impact from the level 1, 2, 3. Like I said, you will only come to know the impact of a program after you reach level 5. So of course, when you will go through all the levels, you will come to know what is the problem. In case if your training program has gone for a loss, you will come to know why it is gone for a loss, because you have reached all you have learned all 5 levels, and that is how you will come to know, okay, at this particular level there was a problem, and that's the reason it is gone for a toss, or that is the reason this particular training program has not worked fine. So yes, it traces the complete chain of impact. It measures the intangibles. So yes, the Phillips ROI model accepts that you cannot measure certain outcomes in monetary value, and the final ROI won't represent such outcomes. So outcomes such as customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction, and team bonding are measured in this level, and that's how you can measure the intangibles as well. Next slide, please. Disadvantages of this ROI is late measure of return on investment. So, like I said in my previous slide also, that Philips ROI has a little slow process, and you won't come to know your your profit measurement right on the second or the third stage. You will have to wait till the fifth level so that you can calculate your ROI. So yes, it is a little late process, and the measurement of this is it takes time. Usually it is only for 5 to 10% of the training programs. This is like I said, it is not for all training programs. Mostly all the other training programs reach up to level 1 or maximum at level 2, but 5 to 10% of the training programs need this level of evaluation. That is where you have masses, where you have involved a lot of uh, amount of money, and that is when you need to remove the ROI of that. So this is not for all training programs, only when there are big training and big investments done. And to summarize my Philips ROI project model is that with the Philips ROI model, you get precise data and how effective your training program is and how much profit it can generate. It also allows you to gauge intangible benefits. Unlike corporate, you can also know how are the intangible benefits arising from your training programs. Impact and ROI forecasting strategies can help you predict which profitable training programs to start and which unproductive ones to drop. So that is about Philips ROI. Thank you.
Good. Very nicely done. Right. I hope everybody is able to understand this. Because this particular method of evaluation and effectiveness of training brings in a little mathematical formula. Though the formula is not really difficult for because it's generally done by the accounts people. But yes, it
Correct.
becomes a part of an HR to know how the ROI, the return, not just on the cost of the training program that an organization has invested, it is also about the time which is being consumed. Because every time an employee is out, not doing the work and attending training program is an additional cost to the company from productivity point of view.
Yes.
So both the things, the time taken and as well as the investment made by the organization is generally calculated by this particular method. Very well done, Vaidehi.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, any questions on these methods or anything related to training and development, or shall we move ahead to the new topic today? Because we still have a lot of time. We were doing all those things really fast because we had the other batch of advanced general management doing their classes here. So, you guys are clear about all the topics that we have covered so far? Or you still have time, maybe we can just take from tomorrow onwards for the next 2 3 classes. What we I can just do is I can just do a recap of whatever we have done so that you can, if you have some questions, you have some queries, maybe in a case study format or example based formats, we can just revise all of this,
Yes,
right?
ma'am, I actually had a question.
Sure.
So basically, as you know, I have already started my journey as a training manager, and there are some, there are some situations which I am facing, and I am not getting a particular solution to it. So
Hmm.
so like maybe there might be multiple factors to it, but then I mean, there has to be a solution. So first thing what I face is that, like you said that when people come for training, they drop their operations and they come the training. So then that has
Hmm.
to be managed. So when they come to my training, and what my role is that I have to, organize a training program every in alternate day, because
Hmm.
that is what my job is. So
Hmm.
when I do it at alternate days, my training programs goes up till 1 hour or more than 1 hour. So how to keep
Hmm.
it short? Because if I keep it short, I feel that they might not get the point, or maybe if I keep it short, but then if
Hmm.
I don't keep it short, they will drop on their working hours, and then their managers keep calling them, what is this? We need them and all. How
Hmm.
to manage that? How to balance that? I mean,
See, what can be done for when I used to be a corporate trainer in the organization, what we used to do is we used to give them some additional material to study before the capsules, these 1 hour capsules that they had to attend, so that they are a little prepared about the topic in brief, not really very detailed kind of literature, but some additional material that can go. And then similarly, after the training program, then you can send them across a certain notes, certain articles to read. Some live case studies is very important, whatever the topics
correct.
are, right? I'm sure because you are a corporate trainer yourself, so you would be doing trainings on maybe values and sensitivity training, all
Soft
those things,
skills.
uh, onboarding. Yeah. So whatever is
I'm
you're
not
doing
really a
soft skills.
corporate trainer. I am
Okay.
a trainer, or I am a hospitality trainer. But however, I
Okay.
want to switch to corporate trainer. And how do I get that opportunity? I mean, how do I search that up? How do I know which company has a corporate trainer which suits my qualification? Because if I become a, I mean, so if I, so there are IT sectors where they need trainers who are software developers already, or like that. So how would I come to know which company would hire a corporate trainer like me. I mean, I'm not particularly centric to hospitality. I have a lot of other experience as well. Like
Hmm.
I am a, I mean, I can take personality development classes. I can, do soft skills, and I know basically what are the corporate topics which can be taken. So then,
Hmm.
how do I get that opportunity if I have to seek that in market?
Lot of institutions now, I mean, lot of not just institutions, organizations also are putting it across. In fact, one came to us today itself. I'll try and share it with you. It's with a edtech company, and they are looking for somebody who can do similar role that we are just talking about. Yeah.
Okay,
So one has to just look into the market. There are various platforms, especially on LinkedIn. They keep doing all of, I mean,
right,
copy
right,
posting all these things. Plus, we
right.
have a very large group of HR heads, so that is why we keep getting these kind of things. So, as and when something will come, if you're interested, I'll keep sending it to you. You can apply, and wherever I can use my reference that I know this person myself, I'll surely let you know that you can refer my
Sure,
name as
ma'am.
well. So, that's
Sure, ma'am.
not an issue. Mm.
Thank you so much.
Most welcome, anytime. So, shall we start the new topic?
Sure, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So, the topic that we are going to do today is recruitment and sourcing. You guys can see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Why Anjan and Sushma Suman are so quiet today? Sushma,
No,
I know. Yeah. Okay.
No, ma'am, I'm hearing you actually.
Yeah, I know that you must be hearing. There's the kid at home. So, hi Suman, you're back in town after your travel. She's in a quiet mode. Okay. So, see, now this topic is basically generally what we do when we talk about sourcing and recruitment in human resource management. It becomes our second most important topic because everything that goes around in an organization is purely and actually is done for right kind of people to bring in the organization, and that too at the right time. So, understanding this particular topic is as good important as manpower planning, like we did, right? So what is sourcing? Any idea? And let's keep it interactive. It's not really a very tough topic. I'm sure all of this that we are going to talk to you about today, you must have applied to the jobs. You must have seen those kind of job postings and everything. So we'll talk about all that. So your experiences can make it a little more interactive and fun.
sourcing means you are hire a right people and source that person in the right place. Suppose if I'm doing MBA HR and I have that certifications, so the HR can see that this person has this type of qualification and this type of master skills. So he or she can source me in that place also. So that means sourcing means giving the right opportunity to the right people.
That's called recruitment or maybe hiring. Why sourcing is different? What do we do when we do sourcing?
Sourcing means you use your sources to get the recruitment, or basically you use sources like LinkedIn or some channels to use to get the candidates, or you use
Correct.
your source
Yeah,
uh,
anything. It can be personal, it can be professional. So, yes,
professional.
the channels that you use or we generally use, from where we can get the right kind of candidates for the job that you have available. So, that's called sourcing. And that is why sourcing and recruitment are two separate words that is generally used in human resource management. And all of these things that we are going to discuss today comes under talent acquisition, which we call as TA or hiring. Yeah, any one of this particular thing. So interchangeably, a lot of words can be used, jargon, but sourcing and recruitment or sourcing and hiring are important most for any organization to have. So now what is the importance of effective sourcing and recruitment? I am not going to read today. Any one of you will have to pick up and read, start reading. So maybe one point Anjan can read, one Vedahi, one Sushma, one Suman. This is how we are going to go.
And yes, I can read first one.
I'll just try and explain with examples whenever
Acquiring
it is required. Yeah, you can start with acquiring top talent.
top talent. Employee recruitment is the foundation of any successful organization. Finding individuals who match company values and bring a unique to skill set to the table helps future proof the company.
Okay. You want to try and explain it as well, Anjan?
Ma'am, yes, employer recruitment is the successful for is the type of, you can say, foundation in the organization. So we can find the individual who match the values. He or she has that type of skill set which fulfill
Hmm.
the mission and goal of the organization. The organization can run long for the future.
Okay. Cool.
Yes.
So my question to all of you is, why do you think that a lot of organizations are facing so much of problems? India being such a highly populated country, I mean, we are more than the numbers that is required. Still, we are not able to find the right kind of talent for organizations. So where do you think are the gaps?
Ma'am, first thing is that the people have not that type of skill set.
Okay.
First thing. And
Hmm.
second is everyone is thinking about they can get the government job. First, yeah,
Okay.
that is the second reason that everyone is thinking that everyone can become an IAS and army officer in the team. So that is not
Yeah.
possible. So they can lose their age and everything. So if they acquire the skill set in the organization, acquire that skill set in which he or she want to go. Like if I want to go in HR, so I have to acquire that skill. So the organization can look at me that I can reach to the organization and give a future benefits for a long time.
Yeah. Okay. Hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Vedhi, you wanted to say something?
Um, the reason why we, as an HR recruiter, find it very difficult to get employees for our company. From my point of view, what multiple factors can be is there is an open market, and market is very competitive. There are people who are hiring people on maybe higher pay than what we are offering here. So that can be one of the reason why it is very difficult for a company to hire staff,
Hmm.
and that is
Okay.
what I feel can be a problem. If the
Salaries
company
can
not,
be a problem, yes. But
yeah,
usually companies have a bracket. They do a lot of research, like we did in compensation. I'm sure sir must have told you that there are organizations like BCG and McKinsey and all that. So they do yearly surveys of salaries, that how much is the increment that is going to be very popular. Some of the part of the study or the survey, they make it common. I mean, they put it on Google for people to search, like you and me also can search. For organizations, a typical survey is generally being sold by these organizations. So all the large organizations that you see, Big Fours and maybe, Infosys and all those companies, they generally buy these surveys to see what is the trend in the market in
market.
terms of what kind of salaries are being given this year, how many increments are being given by most of the organization. That's how we also get to know as an HR in the organization that this year probability would be that highest percentage of appraisal that is being given to the people should be not more than 25%, looking into
Correct.
the standard of living, looking into the inflation, looking into the cost of living, all those things combined together. So yes, and minimum calculation of salaries. I'm not sure how much sir has given you this, Hardik sir, but when we do minimum calculation of salary, what we do is minimum wages. Obviously, we follow, and then after that we see that how much is the inflation that is happening every year. So, for example, from last 2 years, the inflation has been really high, not just 5-7%. It's much more than that. So when you are considering appraisal, even if an employee has not done really good, they have been an average employee or below average employee, you still have to give them that percentage of increment in their salaries so that their standard of living can be maintained. Otherwise, what will happen? The people who are at the lowest level and also not performing really well, they will always remain at that level, and it would be very difficult for them to really survive in the market properly. So that is the reason why these surveys are being conducted. So salary, yes, becomes very important part of sourcing the right candidate, but it's not really the only, what do you call it, factor, which basically is creating problems in India. Right. So one point, Anjan, like rightly said, that yes, a lot of people have these expectations from the parent side, from the society, even from the school and colleges, that people should only get uh, jobs in the government, or maybe they become medical officers or get into MD or MBBS. So these parents, because these parents have seen these particular careers like IAS and army and all those things as successful. Plus, there is a guarantee that a pension will also come even after the retirement. So, yes, it's a security factor in terms of both financially and even if something physically happens to any employee working out there. So, all these factors are, yes, taken into consideration. But as per whatever studies we have seen and we have done, and researches that we have seen going to the colleges, meeting people, is India has a very large section of people where we see skill gaps. So even if you see there are hundreds crores of institutions being run out here in India, but still all these institutions do not provide that quality of education to each and every employee. And that is the reason, sorry, to the students who are there. And that is the reason why these gaps are increasing day by day. So the requirements that we have in the corporates, in the offices, in the organizations are not being fulfilled by all these institutions. That is why all the big institutions, all the top 10, 20, 30 institutions usually have a very good percentage of people being placed in the organization, purely because the kind of what do you call it, the skills, the competencies that is being filled, other than the courses, the course regularly. So, like, everybody in MBA would know what is sourcing and recruitment. Even in the MBA colleges, they would be taught like that. But how practically things are actually being done in the corporate? What are the channels of sourcing? How are you actually going to use different kind of channels, which is not being used by older people in the organization? How are you going to make it more successful for the organization is what we have to keep seeing. So experiential has to be one of the important things when we are talking about the skill gap. Second is creativity. Third is a lot of innovation has to come in. So, like I always keep telling you guys in my classes, that millennials, the new people who are now joining the job forces after completing their studies, are very different from the older people. Even 5 years down the line, the things have changed so much that a lot of people, what they expect, like, today, I'll just give you an example. So it is not directly related to sourcing and hiring, but just an example. There was a study which was being done, and the study showed that the young generation today, even if they are earning really good, they are not spending their money in buying diamonds, whether it is a male or a female. So, what is the reason why, we used to call diamonds being a best friend of a woman, right? Males used to buy it for their wives or their girlfriends or their family, mother, sister, whatever. But now the things for this newer generation, things are changing because their expectations from how they want to utilize their money is totally different. So, keeping all these areas, keeping all these factors in mind, we have to see how we can really acquire the right kind of talent, or how we can really make the people who are available such a large population. We are such a young country. Young country means we still have a lot of population which is very young, which is ready to be employed. And that is the reason why countries like Canada and Australia and Europe now is looking at us. They are really trying to engage our youth by coming there and perform and do regular job responsibilities out there. Purely because of this reason that we are very, very young country. So when we are young country, most of our population, like 60% of our population, is ready to be employed. So all these factors has to be kept in mind. Not obviously when you're joining in an organization, you may not really require to think about these things. But yes, as an HR professional, it is always beneficial for each one of us to think that what can be my contribution? Like whether he was just asking that how you can I get into personality development. So a lot of institutions, a lot of universities require good corporate people who can come and train their people into how to attend interviews and how to attend group discussions, how to clear interviews in the right manner, how to create personality in a manner that you are ready to join the corporates. We call these programs as corporate to campus, sorry, to campus to corporate. So you can really get involved maybe in extra time that you have on weekends, or you can get involved with a lot of universities, and the demand is really, really high. I think since I have gotten into, started my own organization, there has always been one or two universities I have been attached to, and just doing these campus to corporate programs. They pay you really well, the time duration is really less, and you're actually helping the society in terms of this skill gap that we are talking about. Right? So it's not just for Vedi, any one of you. So, like, we rightly say that one income is not really should be the source of income in these days. We have already seen COVID times, difficult times. So, how you can generate the second income also, and how you can utilize the skills that you already have or you are learning in HRM. This is how you can do that. So, you're helping the society, you are earning second income, you're also utilizing your skills and competencies to give benefit to the other people. So that's when you can be able to acquire the right kind of talent into the organization, right? So second point, who wants to read this?
Ma'am, I'll read that.
Sure.
Engagement and retention. Effective recruitment supports higher engagement levels, and lower turnover rates by empowering employees and their work experience, they are more likely to stay with the organization.
Yeah. So you can try and explain that as well.
So basically, the more we invest and the more we um, engage with our employees, the
Hmm.
more they are engaged with us, and the more we relate with them, the lesser are the chances of them going. So retention basically is to stop people from leaving your organization. So more you
Hmm.
are engaged with them, the more you connect with them, there are the lesser chances of them to leave. So basically, more if they feel valued, they will not leave your organization. And
Correct.
that
But
is the point.
how does it help in sourcing and recruitment, or how sourcing and recruitment is helping in engagement and retention? What is the
Uh,
direct linkage?
So when you are sourcing or when you are recruiting an employee, you
Hmm.
will show them your company policies and
Correct.
how company contributes to the employee welfare as well, and
Hmm.
what are the employee policies and what are the policies which benefits the employee uh,
Hmm.
which company has come up with. So you can be honest with the employee at the time of recruitment, so they don't feel. So once they have joined, they should not feel that this was not informed.
Yeah, good point. Yes. So one is the policies of the organization. Second is when you're doing effective sourcing का meaning यही है that you need to find and see what is the requirement that your organization has, the right kind of requirements. And for this purpose, we do competency mapping. So tomorrow we will do the class on competency mapping, and I'll tell you in details how the competency mapping practically is being done. That is not even taught in the MBA institutions, right? So this we have learned over a period of time when we were in organization, and we learned over a period of time how one person's competency can be calculated and mapped really, and it will help you in a performance management system. It will help you in effective sourcing and recruitment, and also in giving them training and development. So mapping of competencies and skills are very, very important part of it. Second part of engagement and retention is that when you're looking at an employee, we generally do not look for an employee for an immediate satisfaction of filling up the position. It has to be a long-term goal that this person is going to stay in the organization for this much period of time at least, and show them the career progression or development that they are going to get in the organization. It is very, very crucial and important because not everybody wants to join an organization where they do not see a long-term growth of personal as well as professional earnings, their growth and the learnings that they are going to happen. So that these are the two, three important things that helps in engagement and retention. Most of the organizations are making, like you will see on LinkedIn and social media, they are trying to make engagement very popular in terms of showing that we are organizing Rangoli festivals, Diwali fest, or any festival that they are celebrating, color codes, Friday, fun Fridays. All those things are really interesting so that people can really come out of their zones. Even if they are introverts, they can participate. So all these things are good for team building, but these are not engagement exercise. There was a company, McKinsey, I think, did a very large survey of most of the organizations throughout the world. So they picked up and choose those organizations on the basis of the popularity of these organizations. And they did this survey and found out that only 15%, 15 to 18% employees were fully engaged in doing the job that is being given to them. So imagine for these top companies also, when 80% of their employees are just sitting, not completely doing 8 hours of job or not being fully engaged in their job responsibilities, imagine the kind of turnovers the organizations can bring in when even if the 50% of their workforce becomes fully engaged, right? And when we say fully engaged means that you're happy doing your job, that you are feeling that satisfaction, that you have a challenging role, that this role is actually bringing creativity from you. This role is giving you enough so that you can really manage people well, you can enjoy your job that you are doing on a day-to-day basis, and you know that you are learning and growing simultaneously. So this is how engagement is being mapped. And that is why we do engagement survey, which is also called employee engagement survey or employee satisfaction surveys in the organization. And that's also a part of the HR that needs to be done, right? So to map. And from the same surveys, you can easily map and see how many employees are planning to leave you in the organization. By the questions that you design in questionnaire for your survey, and the answers you get, you will slowly learn over a period of time that these are the kind of people who are going to leave the organization. They're just waiting for maybe their appraisals, they're just waiting for the next transfer or promotions, and then they will leave your organization. So that's when an HR can really start their work in terms of employee relations, building, talking to them, ensuring that there are no problems, all those things that needs to be done by an HR, and it starts from there. Right? Understood? Third point, who wants to read? Sushma, Suman? Are you guys are there or not? At least say yes or no, so that I only read. Okay. So third point, I only start with. Third is enhancing brand reputation. So any good organization, when we post our job outside, it can be in a portal, it can be on LinkedIn, it can be on any sourcing channel that the company is using, newspapers, print media, or a lot of literature that is being now available on e-platform, which is digital platforms. So it basically increases the brand reputation that these organizations are growing. That is why the new hirings are happening in the organization. Also, a lot of time it also talks about the positivity of the organization. Many people will go and search for that organization even if there is no direct job being posted for them. Still they go and really look into all these posts. So it really affects the brand reputation of an organization directly. Also, when people come for interview, so suppose you have just one position open for one particular designation or a title, but you have at least 20, 25 people who come and appear for the interview. All these people, how the experience that they have seen during the organization, like, they are treated well if they are coming for offline interview, they were given a proper care and conditioning in terms of offering water, tea, coffee. If the wait time is higher, they were given enough material to read about the organization or to see the culture of the organization. So every person who walks in for an interview in the organization becomes a brand ambassador. Whatever the things that they are carrying and going forward outside that thing is basically going to talk good or bad about the organization. Hence the experience. So even if as an HR you know, or as a recruiter, you know that you're going to hire just one person, but the experience that you are going to share should be very, very similar to each employee who walks in and give the interview. So that's how you become a reputable workplace to work. That is the reason why people are really, looking forward to join such organizations. So, like, you see Google. Google is not just a brand they have created. It's basically a lot of things. Me and Sushma, when we were doing strategic HRM last week, we talked about Google's case study. What are the things that Google is actually as an organization doing for their organization, for their people, which many organizations are not really taking care of. Right from flexible timings to working from home to hybrid system, ensuring that there is no leave without pay is being deducted even if an employee is sick. Uh, Also, providing gym, cafeteria, large gym area, a different kind of activities so that people can take breaks, because sometimes the programmers and coders have to spend a lot of time into the organization and they do not really take breaks for longer duration. So they ensure that even if they are taking 15 minutes out, they are playing pool or they have different kind of recreational activities happening in the organization. Then they have a zone which is they have created, very, very large zone they have created, and they call it creativity zone or something like that. I think recreational zone or creativity zone, where people can really sit and brainstorm and think of good ideas. Just that. This particular area in the entire organization is used only for that purpose, that you can sit, you can enjoy light music, you can order food out there, and you can just relax and pause, and a lot of new ideas should come to you during that particular time. So this is how you become a reputable place of work. So now suppose Google is hiring for one position and 20 people have seen this infrastructure, this environment that they have created for their people. So I'm sure all the other 19 people who were not selected will go out and talk about all these good points, and they want to become a potential employees for you, and they want to really share it with their peers so that they can come and talk about things. So that's how the brands are created. And every company that has a very great brand reputation do not face any problem in sourcing a recruitment. People automatically apply. They just wait that there is a job posting which is out there. They actually really look forward to it कि कब कोई नई opportunity खुलेगी यहाँ पर इस organization में, and I am going to apply for that. Or they try to keep sending referrals, because Google की maximum hiring, 90% of hiring is being done through referrals only. So they keep waiting for their chance that somebody, some employee would refer to them. कहीं से कोई रिश्तेदार मिल जाए, कोई friend मिल जाए. And that's how, people are really going forward to join these organizations. And it's not just Google, there are many more brands like that. Maybe over a period of time, we will keep talking about them as well. Right? So these are three important things. Now, what are the sourcing strategies we use as an HR? Very important to know for us. So number one is external sources that we all know. Like, most of you already talked about job boards, social media, recruitment agencies. All these things becomes external sources where you can really find fresh energy, you can get fresh air, fresh blood who can join the organization. There are no references, there are no nepotism. Like you can see, there are no biases of internal people, that these are the only good people in my organization and I'm going to promote them. So external sources really take care of that. Then you have internal sourcing. Internal sourcing is again very similar. Like I just said, employee referrals, internal promotions or transfers that happen, or internal job rotations, we also call it. So IJRs basically happen when we see that somebody is really good in terms of their loyalty, integrity, honesty, and punctuality, everything. But somehow this person's competencies or skills are not fitting into the role. So we try and give them an option to do a job rotation to see whether this person can be more successful in doing another job. And this is again, this assessment is done by the psychometric assessment or by the people who are trained. And that's how the goal alignment is being done internally. So this is how internal sourcing happens. Then third point is passive sourcing. Now, what is passive sourcing? Any idea? Anybody that out of you who has experienced how passive sourcing is being done?
Ma'am, it can be through professional networking. Like if we know about if someone is working in the organization and some of your relative is working in the good multinational organization, so we will request them so they can help us to get a job in the organization, or he or she can place us in the organization.
That usually comes under referrals, employee referrals. Professional networking largely talks about, suppose LinkedIn page. You know somebody from that organization, and you keep following that person for a very long time because it's your dream to get a job into that organization, or you are really uh, like, in HR also, there are few people who have become very popular names. So some people follow them as influencers, right? So similarly, in other industry, a lot of other people are there, and people generally follow these organizations as influencers or as their dream job that they can land in this organization. So they generally try and follow these people on social media, on professional networks like LinkedIn. They meet them out in some events, some conferences. They try to gauge, that this is how an employee can really be helpful for my organization. For example, SHRM every year organizes one or two events in India. Other than India, also they organize a lot of events. So SHRM, I'm sure you all of be must be aware of. If you're not, still you can search for it. So Society of Human Resource Management is a very large society. If you take membership, you can get a lot of opportunities for job related things. Also, as a public speaker, they keep calling people as a panelist or generally to learn in the conferences that they organize. So this is how these events are being organized, and people generally try and do professional networking there. So suppose I go as a senior leader in the from the organization side, and I meet a lot of new people, a lot of newcomers in HR, a lot of mid-level HRs, and somehow, though you're not really looking for a person out there, but because of your networking, you are in touch with hundreds of people. And out of 100 of people, I meet, say, suppose all four of you out there. And I remember that I met Anjan out there, and Anjan might be a good fit for this organization, for my organization in this particular role. So let me just try and catch up with Anjan and see whether, he's looking for change or he would be interested in this particular role. So this is how professional networking basically works. Employer branding, I've already told you in from the last slide that the employer branding is, I think, very, very integral and important, vital part of every organization. And though the larger brands have already created it for themselves, they have to just maintain it now. But for MSME sector, for smaller organization and for startups, it's very important that they start working on branding side by side, because the more the branding, the right kind of branding, the right kind of information is reaching out on social media about them, there are chances that people would become really happy in terms of hiring them in the organization, right? So this is called passive sourcing. Also, for passive sourcing, we generally do for senior positions, leadership positions. So suppose you have a leadership position for a CEO or for any CXO position, and you don't want to really go forward directly, uh, putting a job posting out of it or showing it on LinkedIn or anywhere else. So, how passive sourcing happens is you start searching for the right kind of people on LinkedIn or on the social media through references. And these people, again, may not be really open for change. It is then your responsibility to convince them why they should be interested in joining your organization. That is also called passive sourcing, a very popular method of majority of the organization or consulting firms calls it headhunting also. So headhunting is not really a good word. So generally avoid that. Yeah. right? So these are three sourcing strategies that we generally use. Now, what is the recruitment process? Now, this recruitment process is very important for everyone to understand. How we do is, it basically starts, I think this interchange ho gaya hai slides pe. So first is job analysis and description. You generally have to prepare a complete, thorough job analysis of the position that is open for the job role that you have. Job analysis and description usually have title, position, location, like you can see, and job specification talks about the eligibility criteria, which is your education, work experience, the skills and trainings that you have obtained to get this particular role in the organization. And then you write their responsibilities. So for HR, if you write no responsibility, this is how it would be, that you are looking for a person in generalist profile who can do recruitment and selection, can do workforce planning. So this is just an example that I've created here. Then second point of recruitment process is measuring success. So when you have to do measuring success is you need to see how each and everything from right from the sourcing channel that you are using, whether it is Naukri, Shine or whatever things you're using, which particular channel has been very, very successful for getting the highest number of resumes, getting the right kind of resumes, and the skills and competencies that you're looking for, and which is the channel from which you have not just got the number of people, but also the right quality people as well for your organization. Right? So all these things have to be done. So I'm sure in HR analytics class, I must have told you how to calculate the effectiveness of these metrics through recruitment. Right? It was being done. You know the formula of how to calculate or the metrics for calculating the right sourcing channel. How will you get that? Or how will you calculate that? Anyone? Anjan, Vaidehi, Suman? एकदम ही चुप हो गए आप ये दो.
Ma'am, I didn't attend, I think, that class, so I don't know.
I have no idea.
Okay. नो आइडिया मतलब सर ने कराया नहीं था या याद नहीं है?
सर मैम याद नहीं है बस.
Ma'am, I did not attended previous classes, so I am already lacking behind. So I'm so sorry. I just joined.
That is why I said, Suman, ki what we can do is maybe whatever classes we did with advanced HRM, advanced general management, we'll just repeat them very quickly, maybe in the form of a case study or something, and
Ma'am,
then we can do these case studies. We can start it from tomorrow onwards, not tomorrow, next Saturday onwards, right?
like you are going to repeat, otherwise I was going to do it by myself, ma'am. I was too
You
busy.
will have to do it yourself for sure from
Yes,
YouTube. Go and attend those classes. But what we will do is because we did it very fast. I mean, just
right, ma'am.
in 2 hours classes we completed one particular topic. Usually we don't do that. We generally take 4 hours for one topic.
Yes,
Or 3.5, 4 hours, depending upon. But yes, the case studies are left for each and every topic. So I want to introduce all of you to case studies and different methods of how you can get practical knowledge of whatever topics we are covering. So that you're practical because all four of you have some experience in terms of industry experience and all, and
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
ready for new jobs and roles in the market.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
the
And
more practically you will learn and ask questions. My only complaint from all of you is that you guys don't come prepared for the classes. If you want, I'll share the topics at least 2 days in advance because
yes,
I
ma'am.
generally prepare in advance. I
Right.
don't really wait for the last
Yes,
day,
ma'am.
right?
That will be
So
better.
maybe by Wednesday or Thursday, I'll let you know the topic. Or not just Wednesday, Thursday, I'll let you know. For the next week, I can let you know on Sunday itself.
Right, ma'am. And also, ma'am, I was juggling between some responsibilities from last 2 weeks, so I just missed 2, 3 presentation formats also. So, how to go about it? Like, do I need to present
All
it
of
at the
them are
end of?
there in group. Acha, your
Yes,
presentations that you
yes,
have to
ma'am.
give.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
That I
you can.
had not prepared, ma'am. My laptop just broke down, and my husband was also away, so I did not
No
not had
problems.
any laptop to make the presentations. So, like, how to go about it? 2, 3 presentations I'll be preparing it. So when I can present them.
Whenever we'll do the repetition of these topics, you can then present.
Right, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Just keep preparing so that you will get an opportunity, because presentation is not just about creating slides and writing the
Yes,
material. It's also about your communication and confidence that you will get,
right.
because public speaking in HRM is very very enjoyable thing. As a when you join an organization as an HR, you will get a lot of opportunity to become a public speaker, right
Right.
from when you are doing sourcing or hiring. Suppose you go to a college. So like, I'm just putting across a case study to you, like, for all three of you right now. So suppose you go to a college for a campus placement. So any one of you is aware that how to do campus placements? What are
No,
the
ma'am.
steps that you are going to follow? Just think of it. Just think from a general point of view that how an organization will come to your college, or how you as an HR from that organization is going to a college and is now hiring people from there. Anjan, you have some idea?
Actually, first the HR can give about the job descriptions sent to the college.
Okay.
Second,
Yeah.
that
Mm.
first thing is job description, what they are expecting from the students, what they get. And second thing is they go to the university campus.
Mm.
Third, they conduct the test, because there are a lot of candidates are there, 300 students are there, so it is very difficult to them. So with this test, they can select the limited candidates, and then
Yeah.
they go for the then they conduct interview round. Either it may be 2 or 3 interview rounds.
Yeah.
After
Right.
after 2 3 interview rounds, they will finally decide who they are selected, which candidates they are selecting, and then they offer the letter to them.
Absolutely. So very, very nicely you said that, first is sending the job application, the job analysis, the description, that this is what your organization's opportunity is. So that organization, the institutions, what generally universities and institutions do, they put it on notice board or they share on their internal portals with every student. Then students can select and apply for it. They were given time that, okay, this is the job opportunity. You are given a time for a week. You can apply for this job if you are interested. Then they invite HRs or recruiters to come and visit the organization or institution. And then what you can do is, this is where the responsibility of public speaking comes in. You go and you actually present your organization to these people. First role is that, right? Because you cannot really introduce your organization to one person individually every time. So most of the organizations they do is they present their corporate PPT or corporate presentation or a video that they have already created or they use during onboarding also, and they showcase the entirety of the organization that they can, right from the vision and mission to how many senior people are there, what is the hierarchy system, what are the good HR policies. So everything that is attractive about your organization, you try and sell it out. So you become a public speaker and explain all those things. So that is why these presentations that we are doing as a part of this this course is really, really going to be very helpful for all of you. So,
Like
yeah.
giving a small induction about your company.
Yes. So, like I rightly said, that onboarding wala presentation, generally there is a corporate PPT which is being created by marketing team, which is what is being showcased into the organizations, institutions, and universities, so that they get to know and they become interested in the job. Right? Then, फिर आपका second point, like whether he said, is onboarding. When these people join, all the new all the new people who joins an organization, again as an HR, it's your responsibility to give them onboarding. So on onboarding, we will do that topic again during this particular course, and then we will tell you that what kind of different onboardings can happen, how learning and development professionals can really take forward the onboarding to a different point and can engage more employee. So all these things are really, really important factors, right? Now we were talking about how we are basically doing the recruitment process. So campus placements is also part of a recruitment process that can be followed, which can be part of an external source. Right. Now we were talking about the metrics basically. That's how it started. I don't know where we ended up. So metrics basically help you see that which channel, which route through which you have hired these people or sourced these people are going to be really, really helpful for them. So tomorrow I'll show you the metrics related to HR, this hiring and talent acquisition, at least so you will get to know those formulas really well. Then third part of this process is selection methods and assessment tools. So like you guys were just talking about, different kind of interview rounds happens, test happens, mental ability, aptitude test or attitude test, or psychometric testing. So all these things, these kind of tests are being designed in the organization by various people, subject matter experts or technical people who have the certifications or right kind of qualification to design these assessment tools for recruitment and through which then we recruit. The chances of using these assessment tools, especially the psychometric test and assessment centers, we talked about this particular thing in previous classes. The chances is that the accuracy of these tests is little higher than just the perception that we create when we are interviewing the people. So most of the HRs, what they do is when they interview people, they go by their gut feeling that, okay, this person's keyword is matching with the responsibility. I really like the answers they have given. So they don't really follow a method. So there are scientific methods of conducting interviews. One of them is very popular method, which is called STAR method. So again, selection and methods and assessment is a separate topic that we are going to conduct tomorrow. So then I'll take you through that tomorrow in details about that. So STAR method, also the competency mapping, how it is being done, and some psychometric assessment tool. I'll take you live through certain assessment tools so that you can really experience as a candidate also how to fill these questions and what would be the assessment of it. And then you can also utilize it for your institutions or organizations when you are hiring. Right? But again, all the assessment tools or psychometric tests cannot be run by all the organizations. You need to become a separate trainer for that. I mean, you need to take specific trainings and certifications in that. So, like MBTI is one that I got trained into. This profiling is one that I took certification. So, I'm just going to give you a little brief about those certifications and how you can really get involved into psychometric testing if you are creating your career in recruitment or generalist role. Then fourth point is measuring success again. So how are you going to measure success in terms of, I think this is a repetition of same point that we have done. Yeah. Now comes the part. So this one that you have just thought, the first point of how the recruitment process is being designed. So now what are the things that needs to be done in job analysis? Again, job analysis in MBA institutions and even if you see HRM books is a very, very complex and a very separate topic altogether. And that is why we need to go through it in very, very detail. And you need to ensure that if you're not able to understand something, please ask questions. Right? Again, job analysis is the scientific method of how the organizations create the job role and how these job roles are mapped. So, job analysis, like it is mentioned here, is a thorough and systematic assessment of a position within a company. Three main scenarios in which a professional might perform a job analysis include number one, their own performance and professional development. Second is managers creating job descriptions and combining few positions for the organization. And third is human resource professionals recruiting and hiring job candidates. So these three things are really important to be done. Now, how you conduct job analysis in an organization? You need to gather information about one particular position that you think is there available in the company and then try and gather all information. And when I say information, information can be about the environment that the person is going to perform their job in, what kind of tools instruments or technology that the person is going to use, right from what is the kind of timings that is being going to be given to that particular job. Everything related to that job information has to be gathered at one point. Then second point of analysis is evaluate the importance of each task and competency. So you have to really get into competency mapping here and see, suppose Anjan has high analytical skills. So how I can utilize Anjan's analytical skills in recruitment. So this is how the mapping is being done. That each competency is mapped with each task and what would be the outcome. So we try and engage the outcomes in advance and see, and that is how the job posting is being done. So you see a job posting out there in the market, maybe on a social media link or sourcing channels, but the thought process is basically behind this particular thing is how to evaluate each task. So suppose I have to spend as an HR, if you are being hired in the organization, and you have to spend at least 3 hours in just sourcing the right channels, so right candidates from the organization. So that is one task in your job description. Now, for particularly this job that you are being assigned of sourcing, what are the competencies or skills that is required? So problem solving skills, good communication skills, judgment, analytical skills, so these are the few skills that is required to perform this job other than your knowledge of the products and services of the organization. Then third is research industry standards. So like I started my topic with that job analysis or recruitment and sourcing is all about industry standards. What is out there, what are the competitors are doing, what is the government rules and regulations which controls hiring and everything like minimum wage act and other acts that Sarma must have taken you through. So all these acts, how you are ensuring that is being utilized in the organization properly, and there are so many of these acts which is related to each function of HR, right from minimum wage for salary to what kind of compensation is being paid to the skilled employees, what kind of promotions and transfers can be given in the organization. Bonus Act talks about what bonus is given when the company is making profit, cash and incentives other than the salaries that you are giving. What is the tax capability? What kind of tax would be deducted? All those things can be studied through industry standards. Then revise job descriptions and standards again. So what is the requirement you have today? So all the job descriptions that you created 3 years back is not going to be utilized now because the technology is changing. A lot of things that people are using with the help of softwares now. IT or artificial intelligence has taken over so many things in HR role as well. So how are you going to change the job description and the standards of each job that is being performed by the individuals in the organization? And then last is use data to make changes. So all the past data and information that you have gathered over a period of time in terms of people's education, qualification, how people are evolving, their skills are evolving, what kind of new skills are coming into the market. With the coming of robots and bots and artificial intelligence, what kind of problems human beings will face? How are we going to overcome that particular problems? For which role? So you need to be ensuring all those things in your job analysis and then create that data, right? Because you would be surprised to know that many of the organization outside India has started giving recruitment as a function to their bots. It is being just done by the robots. That's it. That is how they are using artificial intelligence. So imagine if a country like India, where you still have large population which is unemployed, and you start using robots. So imagine the recruitment function, which is such a large function for every organization. Almost 7, 8, 30, 40 people are being employed by organization, depending upon their size, will now go to robots. So it will become very difficult and challenging. So how you can actually bring in your own personal factors, emotional factors, soft skill factors, and behavioral aspects to hiring so that it doesn't really become a job of robots, right? Understood these points? Then आता है, what information do you need for a job analysis? So what are the things that you need to gather, like we just talked about in the first point? Your primary duties. That suppose if you're hiring for an HR executive, so as an HR executive, what are the primary responsibilities or duties I'll have to do every day in the organization? Then skills needed for the job, additional to my qualification and eligibility criteria, what are the other skills that is required to perform that job? My integrity should be high. My analytical skills should be really good. I should be good in Excel or using some softwares. So all these are the skills directly linked to perform the job. This is how we generally gather that. Third is very simple, your education and experience requirement. So what is your, suppose there is a title of HR executive. So for HR executive, what is my company standard of education and experience? Some organizations are welcome and open to hire even the graduates for recruitment role. Some organizations who understand the importance of recruitment usually hire people with some HR certification, diploma, or degree. Then work environment. So now you need to see that, because there are some roles. Now, most of the jobs that you might have seen that all these jobs are being performed in an organization, sitting in an AC room on a desk, table, chair. You have a laptop or a computer being given to you, and this is how you're working. But there are a lot of other factors that is there, which is the right amount of light, electricity being, coming to your laptop or the computer wherever you are placed. Then the right kind of ventilation, whether the organization has proper ventilation or not, or if they are using AC, what kind of ACs are there, energy systems being used, sustainable energy is being used or not. Also, then there are jobs in manufacturing industry or hazardous industries or industry where the job performing on a day-to-day basis becomes very difficult. So sometimes people will have to wear some different kind of uniforms to perform their jobs, especially in manufacturing industry. So any hazardous product that they are involved with, they are making this particular product, it gets difficult for them to wear that particular uniform, especially in summers. So then the right amount of AC has to be working out there for the machineries and for the human. So all these work environment situation you will have to then gather and think about. Then for next point is the positions relationship to other positions in the company. So suppose because you are hiring an HR executive, so an HR executive should be reporting to whom? Are there any people who would be under them as well? Maybe an HR officer who can keep providing them information, or some interns, some trainees that is required to be hired in the company. Again, there is a act which is applicable that for every organization which has more than 30 people working at one point in time should have at least 1.75% to 2.5% of people working as an intern in the organization, right? So this is how every organization at one point in time should have some or the other interns working with them to give them a practical learning and internship, right? So these are the things which is very important to know, and that's how you can really start utilizing these acts for day-to-day things. Right. Then next point is supervisory requirements that, if this is an HR executive role, what are the supervisory requirements? How many people they are reporting into? Yes, to one is to their recruitment head. The second one is to the person has to work very closely with the functional heads as well, because other functions will also put across their manpower requisition that these are the number of people that we require in these positions. All these things will come automatically to recruiters as well directly. So their supervisory requirements have to be very clearly put into this. Then financial impacts, very important. Like you all know, salaries, compensation, benefits that is being attached with one job position is very, very integral part of the job analysis that you're creating and drawing. Now, how do we do job analysis? What are the methods? There are again, as I said, structured methods that we generally use so that you can gather all the informations related to the points that we just spoke. सबसे पहला है इसमें questionnaires, which is called structured questionnaires as well. So the company has to really create or write down these questionnaires and then ask the answers, right, from the employees who are already working in the organization, and see whether the kind of work that these people are really doing is what is written in the job description or there is a gap. Because many people leave the organizations at some point in time because they do not really understand the job description well, and most of the organizations do this repetition of hiring wrong recruitments in the organization. purely because the job descriptions are not really written well. So you need to map every time, every 6 months or every year or 2 years, depending upon the length of the organization and the changes being introduced in the company. So you need to keep rewriting your job descriptions every 2, 3 years. Right. So one is through the questionnaires, structured questionnaires. Then interviews, similar kind of things that you do in questionnaire, you are now just doing it in a verbal format, which is through the interviews. So you have a set of questions that is ready with you. Now you're asking every person who is performing that role for which you are writing the job description. You just talk to them about the skills that is required on a day-to-day basis, the processes that they follow, what are the competencies that is required to perform that job, other than their qualifications and eligibility, number of years of experience. So this is how the interview method can be put into use for doing job analysis. Third is observation method. Again, very, very popular method where you do not want to bring in directly talking to the people. So what you can do is you can just select some subject matter experts in the organization. Their work is to just observe the people who are doing and performing that task on a day-to-day basis. राइट एंड दे कीप डूइंग द नोट इसको ऑब्जर्वेशन के साथ साथ हम जब पुराना हम पढ़ते थे तब हमारे इसमें एक डायरी मेथड भी होता था डायरी मेथड में वट एवर ऑब्जर्वेशन यू आर मेकिंग यू आर जस्ट राइटिंग आउट इन अ डायरी in a format so that you are aware that which person for this particular job role is performing what kind of responsibilities and duties. It just brings 100%, not 100%, 90% accuracy in the kind of role that you have to play in the organization. Then last is work log. Work log basically talks about what kind of timings a person is actually spending. Right? So for example, agar you are hiring an HR executive, so for HR executive, how long sourcing is taking, from which channel it is taking more, from which channel it is taking less time. So you're logging that particular point in some formats that this is the amount of time a person has spent into sourcing. Then you are hiring in terms of you are screening these people out. You have got the resumes now, you're screening and you're just applying the screening calls with people in terms of getting and gathering information about their salary, current salary, uh, experience, eligibility, location, whether they can relocate or not. So the first screening round. So all those things can be written down in a work log that for a recruiter, if these are 4 functions, day-to-day basis, these 4 functions take this long time to do so that you can keep improving your job description on a timely method. Now, why job analysis is important? Like I've already spoken about it during this particular last 2, 3 slides, but just to repeat it, number one is creating more detailed and specific job description. Again, it brings accuracy. The more number of times you're repeating these exercises, there are chances that people are more engaged. They stay for a longer time period. The retention and attrition becomes really, really get a direct impact from this. Then second is write accurate job postings because it's very, very important for a good organization for their brand value. That whatever you're putting, especially if you're making a big advertisements in newspapers or print media or online and offline both, then whatever information that you're putting out in that job should be accurate as much as possible. So for having the accurate job posting, you need to have the job analysis to be written really well because sometimes people lose their job the brand value purely because number of people who leave the organization dissatisfied that things which was told to us during the interview process was different than what we are made to do in the organization. So that difference should not come out of this thing. That's why it brings a lot of accuracy in job postings. Third is making good decisions when recruiting and hiring new employees. So obviously, if you have a very well written job analysis in front of you, you know what are you looking in people, right? As an HR, it becomes much more easier for you. So you can really structure your questions around that, or you can really see that what kind of skills you are judging people for or evaluating them for, and then you can take best decisions. This is that. Fourth is identify the skills an employee needs to perform a job successfully. Again, very, very important. The more it is beautifully written, clearly written, drafted job analysis, it makes your job much more easier. Then conduct more effective performance reviews. 100% sure. I told you initially itself that job analysis can really, really have an impact on not just hiring, but performance management system, also on learning and development, succession planning, career progressions that you're creating. It has a direct link with all these functions as well of HR. So it's very important for you to write it down really nicely in the first instance, so that all your functions that you're performing as an HR becomes much more easier for you going forward. Then determining your job's hierarchy and relationship with other jobs, like I just said that, it becomes really easy for any employee. So suppose Suman joins an organization and she's clueless that, okay, fine, I know that this person is my reporting manager, but who all are the other people that I'm going to work with, right? So they need to have an introduction, proper hierarchies and relationship systems to be written. Also the SOPs, which we call processes, are to be written so clearly that every employee who joins an organization is very clear. Uh, Even if there is no assistance available, through the processes only they will get to know, okay, my job responsibility starts from here, it ends here. Now, next step is for the marketing department or the other department to look into. So, your complete span of control, your complete coordination and cooperation through hierarchy and relationships of job is becomes very clear from job analysis. Then determining a job's value to the company and offer appropriate compensation. Now, sometimes when you're writing the job analysis, you realize that there are very few skilled people to perform this job in the market, right? So this is where you get to see that, okay, this job's value for our company or our organization is really high. And that's when, so you will see there are a lot of positions like business analyst. Now, business analyst has become very popular name or a title in a company. But initial years when business analysis came into the organization, their job was to actually read the data, find out the solutions from this data, and how this data can effectively be utilized by the CXOs of the organizations in terms of taking right decisions. So their job was just that. Then a lot of software started coming in, a lot of other people started becoming business analysts, doing different kind of roles. But business analyst initially when it came was a very, very important skill, important positions became for organization. And you will see there are a lot of data which can really talk about it, that they were given very high salaries for this particular purpose only during that time. Even now, business analysts are being paid really, really well by the organizations where they are effectively utilizing their skills. Then create more effective employee training programs. Like I just said that, rightly written job analysis can tell you the competencies and skills required. Through competencies and skills, you can see what are the gaps. From gaps, you can design the programs really well. Then combine two jobs into one position. Sometimes when you're writing down the job title and analysis and description completely, you realize by writing it that anybody who is performing this job will not take more than 2 hours or 3 hours in a day. So then you try and combine two jobs together so that the person's time and services, because you are paying them also in exchange of whatever services they are providing, so the person's time is actually being consumed much more productively and effectively in the organization. That's when two jobs can be combined into one. Then assess risk associated with job. It also tells you a job analysis that every time there is a risk associated with job. It can be a risk of the life, it can be a risk of a lot of travel, it can be a risk of performing working in a manufacturing industry where you are working with different acids, different chemicals, different kind of products which can be harmful for you. So it actually assesses the risk rightly. And on the basis of this particular assessment only, the government of India then provide different status to the manufacturing or the companies, that these are the companies which comes under hazardous nature, and they need to follow a certain separate rule as again mentioned in our laws and legalities. They have to follow all those things thoroughly. Right? Understood? I'm not sure. You guys are not talking that whether you are listening also or not. But I'm just continuing. So these are the two examples of job analysis that I have tried to incorporate because me and Sushma were discussing last week that one or two examples should be given with every slide so that you can understand the topics really well. So this I have tried that a job title of a sales representative is there. What kind of classification it is? It's a full-time employee. Also, you can write if it's not a full-time employee, whether a freelancer will do or a part-time worker will do, or you want to hire a consultant who can do this job. So it can be classified into these three categories. Then department, it's manufacturing department that you are using the sales representative for. Location is Kentucky, Louisville. Pay grade is level 3. Again, pay grades and scales are depending upon organization to organization. Some organizations openly write them out. Some organizations do not write them out in job descriptions for outsiders. Then examples kya hai job duties that the person will have to play here is finding new customers located in that region, creating client list, contact potential customers, follow up with existing and potential customers, perform sales presentations, visit potential clients on a regular basis, make sale, obviously, and then keep a record of the sales report that is being designed, developed by the person. Now, what are the skills required to do this job? Proficiency in desktop office programs, proficiency in customer relation management software, whatever the company is being using, or any other version of that. And customer service skills is very important. Interpersonal skills, that how you are going to talk to different people because you are going for the client visit as well. And your written and verbal skills because a lot of mails will be going to the different clients. Also, you are going to get engaged in talking to people. Then reporting structure. This position reports directly to the national sales manager. Nobody reports to this position. Must attend yearly sales meeting. These are the important things that is being written. Then another example. Sorry, same example. I think the education continues. What kind of education you're looking at? So bachelor degree in any of these fields. Skills, ability to make sale, change customer needs, adapts to market changes, and confidentiality, bringing confidently can do different cold calls. Then environment, what kind of office setting that person would be working in, has to sit for desk for, so that people who have some medical problems, some backache problems, some other problems, they should not apply for these jobs. That is the whole reason for writing down all these things. Travel to meet clients 30% of the work week, so you can really see and assess that how much time the person will have to utilize in terms of their travel. They would be moving out so that they can plan their week or month ahead. Similarly, certification and licenses other than your educational qualification. So license, obviously, because you are traveling to various places, and then your certification for National Salesperson, American Association, like you guys are getting a certification for YSI. So all these things are written, can be written there. What are the success factors? And so what are the KRAs that this person has to perform while doing this job? Is growing referral based sales from 18 to 25%, grow market channels penetration by 20% within the first year. How to grow the sales market? Then these 4 points are written for the person to see. Similar example I have edited for assistant editor, a different job position altogether. So what, again, similar format, job description, job duties that the person will have to do, skills required, reporting structure, education, skills, environment, certification and licenses. Right? So this is how you can see that this different kind of job description, job analysis can be written for various positions. And this is how you can learn writing it down. Then last is what are the challenges and solutions that happens for when we are actually encountering this particular, we are writing down job descriptions. What are the major challenges that is being faced by HR people? So one is high competition. Like some of you said that a lot of competition is out there. People are being paid different salaries altogether. A lot of benefits are being given to the people in the company. So you will actually have to fight out all those things that is out there, and you'll have to see that where you can actually bring in more company value in terms of employee branding to the people, so that people are automatically engaged with your organization for that particular reason. And second challenge that comes is over reliance on technology. Lot of recruitment, lot of sourcing generally nowadays happens on of online media. That is the reason why our over reliance on technology is happening. How we can do is we can actually do balanced technology assisted recruitment with human interaction. The higher your interaction is with people, the more you are getting involved with people, there are chances that people are getting attached to your organization because they are listening from a human what kind of experiences and exposure that person has gotten. So that is how it can be done. Third is employee turnover. Again, attrition is really, really a problem in maximum industry. Some last 5, 7 years have seen more than that. In fact, 10 years, in fact, a decade, where organizations have seen people moving the job very fast. So what can be done for that? You need to analyze the reason for employee turnover, and then you need to tailor cut your recruitment practices accordingly. Very, very important, because what happens is, like I just said initially also, that if your job description is not really well written, there are chances that people will come and experience a different thing altogether. And somehow then employees feel that, they were being lied to during the interview process. Why give them that experience when they are just joining? उसके दो reasons हो सकते हैं employee turnover को कम करने के लिए, that you do 30, 60, 90 days evaluation. So during the probation, you keep taking and gathering feedback from the employees or the new employees who have joined the organization, that are they satisfied, are they fully able to understand their job descriptions? If not, where do they find the gaps? Then talk to their supervisors and see how the gaps can be filled, and then rewrite those job descriptions so that all those things can be taken care of in the probation period itself. Then people try and stay for the organization for longer time period. Because जो इंसान 3 महीने निकाल लेता है कंपनी में, generally these people don't want to leave the organization unless there is a very serious issue or challenge there. So that's how you can really practically manage that. Last problem is really a big problem in many of the organization, like lack of diversity. So during our diversity and inclusion class, we had spoken about all these things, that it's a very important thing, especially for sourcing and hiring, that you try and recruit people from various channels, from various places, whether it is LGBTQ. Now, I'm sure if you have seen that program, Tali, which has come on channel, this Sushmita Sen's program, this also talks about diversity. That how till 2014-15, they were not even given a status whether they are human beings in India or not. So when they got that status, that they are at least being treated as a human being, because उनको death certificate, birth certificate भी नहीं मिलता था. So now they are eligible for applying for good jobs, for good studies, and joining some good institutions. So that diverse pool of applicant has to be looked into when you're hiring in organizations, because that's how the society's balance would be maintained. That's how the nature's balance would be maintained when we are bringing the similar kind of people who are available with the right kind of skills and meritocracy to join the organization and perform the jobs. Right? So that's the whole sourcing and hiring. Now, what are the trends that you can see in future? Automated recruitment, I've already spoken to you about that. There are bots which are engaged now in the recruitment task. They have to just match the keywords from one to another. Many organizations use that particular bots at least for scrutinizing the resumes, whether the job description matches the resume or not. They generally use these kind of software and machines. Then virtual reality recruitment, similarly, like we talked about virtual reality in training, we can also use it for recruitments and taking faster decision. You can actually give them experience using VR, that these people are into a situation from where they have to get out or they have to give the solution. So it's like a practical case study that you can run through VR, and then these people can be hired on the basis of the solution that they are giving to them. Then next is digital employer branding. Everything is digital, everything is social media. You can talk about your organization. Every good experience that you are giving to your employee, they are becoming brand ambassadors. You don't have to really hire a Shah Rukh Khan or Amitabh Bachchan to talk about your organization. Your own employee can be the biggest brand ambassador and talk good about your company. They can leave their digital footprints talking good about your company on various platforms like Glassdoors and all, right? So this is how digital employer branding is taking place. So that's all for the class today. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask today or tomorrow whenever you have gone through it again. I'll share the presentation in the group. Yes, Suman, any questions?
No, ma'am. So far, no questions. So far, I'm yet to watch all the lectures altogether from last four, five classes.
Just go through it, and if you face any difficulty, you have some questions, list down those questions, and then in
Right,
next
ma'am.
class, we can just answer those questions. No
Right,
problems at all.
right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining in today. I'll share this PPT in the class.
Thank you, ma'am.